we get into today's Alabama football report, it is almost the third Saturday in October, and I think every single person watching knows what that means. It's rivalry week. If you despise the Tennessee Volunteers and their dumb little hill, then like today's video right now. Only a smirk out of that from you? Is that only a little half smirk? That was a good line. Anyway, I'm talking to producer Chris there. Alabama's defensive front seven has been awesome this season, and it will be tested again against what can be one of the better offenses in the SEC, although it has not consistently been a top offense this season for Joe Milton, Josh Heupel, and the Volunteers. Let's break it down, beginning with the front three, the defensive linemen, or at least when they're in that 3-4 base look. Overall, and I don't want to sum things up too easily here, I think this somewhat unknown front. Eboigbe has some buzz. Tim Keenan's kind of played pretty well. Justin Eboigbe's actually been a solid player too. It's not there's not, I don't believe, this like special Jonathan Allen type player up front. These guys are all probably going to get drafted, and they've all done a very good job of limiting the run and allowing the pass rushers to get home when they're freed up to do so. And those pass rushers, led by Dallas Turner in particular, have been awesome this year. And my biggest complaint is that I think they drop Turner into coverage too much. I think they have to find a way to stop doing that. I think if they would just dial that back a little bit, it would lead to very, very good things and would just mean a better, even better pass rusher, which has been really good so far, to be clear. We'll spend a lot of time on Deontae Lawson. I think Trezman Marshall has been a nice addition for this team, and Chris Braswell is a very good number 2 pass rusher. Let's break down defensive stops for this team. Now you're going, well, what, a tackle? Yes and no. A stop, as PFF defines it, is a tackle that results in a failure for the offense. So, easy example. It's 3rd and 5. They run the football. They get 4. That is a stop. Other examples, 1st and 10, they get 2 yards. That's a stop. It wasn't a successful play relative to down and distance, situational football, all that stuff. How about Deontae Lawson with 20 this year? Trezman Marshall has 12. Tim Keenan, a defense that has 11. That's really impactful, which he's a nose guard, so normally if your nose guard makes a tackle, it is normally at or around the line of scrimmage or even behind it, so that makes sense. Braswell's got 10. Justin Eboigbe has 10. Jaheim Otis has 8. That's all front players. It's not the safeties. It's your front 7 that are making those stops, and it's why there have not been a ton of explosive ground plays or passes, etc. this year for the Crimson Tide. But it is the pass rush that is the most impactful part for me. Outside of the game against Texas, this team has been electric. They have 148 pressures this season. That is absurd. That is an absurd figure to have over the course of, that's like 21 pressures a game. It's unreal. Dallas Turner, I think, has been a special football player this year. His average depth of tackle and run defense is minus 1.6 yards. He's basically getting TFLs or sacks this year for the Crimson Tide. I think Dallas Turner is well on his way to being a top 15 draft pick in this upcoming draft. He's not the biggest guy, but he plays above his weight class. Kind of like Nolan Smith, who wasn't the biggest guy out of Georgia last year, who got a first-round pick as well. Turner's a great athlete and plays above his size, and I love that in my edge players. So grade Dallas Turner so far this season. A, B, C, D, or F as this team's top pass rusher. I would maybe argue top defensive player as well. Go vote. A, B, C, D, or F. Now, we're going to spend some time here on Deontae Lawson as well, as he is quickly becoming Alabama's best off-ball linebacker since Reuben Foster. High praise, I know, but the numbers kind of bear it out. Henry Toto, Christian Harris were fine. I think Harris was a little bit better than Henry Toto. He was overhyped, right? Like he was the high 5-star. Didn't quite play up to it right there. Also, probably didn't help that Pete Golding was the defensive coordinator. He's not. He is what he is. He's not an Alabama DC. He's a lower Power 5 defensive coordinator. Kevin Steele, meanwhile, I think has been an upgrade. as is back with another stint for the Crimson Tide. There have been quite a few of those for Steele. I think it has allowed Deontae Lawson to play better than he ever has before. Now, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It is just you against the numbers. You are not competing against, hundreds of other players and the pros and the sharks, and your chances of winning are super small unless you just crush every pick. No. Keep it simple, easy and fast and simple to play. You choose 2 or more players from any sport. You can do NFL and college football, just NFL, NBA, baseball, whatever. You can mix and match. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and then you watch the winnings roll in. It truly is that simple. You can turn $10 into $250 in just a few taps. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. The link will be in the comments and in the description. But again, folks, it's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Let's look at the numbers here. Through their first 7 games, Reuben Foster back in 2016 and Deontae Lawson in 2023. Now, do make note, it's 1 fewer game for Lawson because he missed one with an ankle sprain. By the way, I'm kind of shocked it was only a game, but I'm glad it was only a game. 4 fewer tackles in 1 less game, half a tackle for loss less in 1 less game, and a half sack more, the same amount of pass breakups. The numbers don't lie, and by the way, 20 of those tackles have been really highly impactful ones for Deontae Lawson. I have been super impressed by him this year. Maybe he's not as good as Reuben Foster, won't have the same, potential draft status, impact, etc. But what do you think about the young, talented off-ball linebacker for the Crimson Tide? Is Deontae Lawson the best linebacker the Crimson Tide have had since Reuben Foster? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off in the comment section right now. Alabama leads the nation in the Pro Football Focus defensive grades. They are narrowly ahead of Michigan, ahead of Iowa, Troy, which is hilarious. Troy's on this list. Penn State, UCLA, OSU, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Clemson, all great defenses. Alabama leads the way in the PFF grade. It's just one metric. It is not the only thing that matters. Points allowed, but they've been great in all of it. They really have been. Takeaways, everything points towards Bama defense is really good. So what do you think? Is this the best defense in the nation? 1 for yes, it is. 0 for no, it is not. I think that it has. And by the way, Alabama still has not yet peaked. I don't think this team on either side of the football is playing as well as they have the potential to. I think they're getting better each week. They're trending upwards, specifically on the defensive side of the football. And I think this schedule is at least somewhat favorable. It's not an easy schedule necessarily, but it does set up pretty decently. Tennessee is not as good as they were last year. For as many fits as that Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt connection gave the Crimson Tide last year, the Joe Milton-led offense is not as good. LSU is going to be a weird game. They are at home, which matters. I think your 2 toughest games, at least defensively, are at home, which I think will go a long way there. LSU's defense is terrible this year, so it might end up being like a 30-27 scoring affair, with Bama getting some big-time chunk plays out there, but Tennessee is not as good. Sets up well. Kentucky can run the football super well. Well, you've stopped the run pretty well this year. Chattanooga is, it's FCS. Bad. Auburn has, I think, still bad quarterback play. Might be a bit rough against LSU. It's not the easiest schedule, but it is manageable for the Crimson Tide here as they move forward this season. I am excited to see how that all plays out then for this defense that is once again trending towards carrying Alabama, knock on wood, to an SEC West championship game. Now SEC championship game as the SEC West, first place team, excuse me. We will be live this Saturday, the third Saturday in October, for Alabama against Tennessee. Make sure you are subscribed. Don't miss out.